Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. We're gonna be working on this character, this Rune Rally character. We'll talk about it in a bit. I forgot to tell Twitter that I'm in all the other places that I'm streaming, so I'm gonna just repost that really quick. I feel really old when I do this stuff because I'm just like, how does it work the whole time? Not like it matters. I mean, social media doesn't like when I share links, like regardless. So it's like such a thing they hate. But yeah. Okay, that's all done. All right. I'm still trying to figure out how to do, if I want to do like Instagram Live and stuff like that. I wish I could do that all kind of at the same time while I stream. It'd be cool to like have it everywhere all at once. I don't know how to do that. Restream does YouTube and Twitch. I think they probably do others too, but maybe Facebook as well. But I feel like it's like a totally different ball game. Yeah. So anyway, for like last year, I kind of came up with this concept for a game where you race, like you do like just like a race, but as wizards, and you just basically cast spells at each other to kind of deter and enhance your options of winning. So I was like, oh, that'd be really fun. I wrote down the rules really quick in like, I don't know, 10 minutes on my notepad on my phone. Usually how it starts. And then I started kind of going with like character concepts and ideas for the tracks. Initially the track was going to be like just like one large board that I could paint, but then then my brother suggested doing tiles, which would be really cool because it allowed for a lot of customizations of tracks. So I did that, and I make them double-sided tiles so you can flip them over and and they have a different theme on the other side. You can mix them or whatever, make crazy stuff. So yeah, I've been kind of working on that for a while, like the tiles and stuff. And I started working on this. I quickly made spell cards. I quickly made just really rough templates. I actually used Pages of Fate's card template just to kind of hammer out the text and stuff. I like used that. So the game kind of came up pretty quickly. Actually, I'll start drawing while I'm talking here. So the game kind of came out pretty quickly, and we immediately went to like play test. I immediately went to the play testing it with my brother and a couple friends, and just kind of seeing how things work and seeing how things. We're actually not going to use this palette. We're going to use this palette, a little more vibrant palette, but we're going to start with let's do like a grayish color just to kind of get. We're going to kind of fill in a silhouette here. Like a grayish green, pretty cool color, a mint. I think it's funny that they call this like a mint green because mint itself does not look like this at all. Like the mint leaves are like they're way darker. But mint ice cream is this color. So they usually, I wonder if they reference it because of that. So anyway, so playtesting went really well, like so well. Like, so to give an example, like when I first playtested Pages of Fate, let me turn this music down a little more. When I playtested Pages of Fate, it went well the first time, and then the second time I did it, the other group I played with like found had some suggestions, and it actually made me like kind of change the whole format of the game. Like not change the whole format of the game, but like the storytelling aspect of the game. made me change it, and actually got me really excited about the prospect of that idea. Made it more work. I think the game would have been done much sooner if I didn't do that, but it wouldn't have been as good of a game. So we're still working on it, but we figured that out. But with Rune Rally, it actually seemed to kind of coalesce a lot more smoother, and a lot more things just seem to click and work better more instantly. I'm not saying there won't be flaws or anything like that, but things seem to just kind of like already be where it should be. So while I was playtesting that, I was kind of also thinking about like the logo and the art and stuff, because I just genuinely think about that stuff. I always find that as like a good motivator for keeping me on task and keeping me excited about a thing. That's why I paint card art for Pages of Fate as well. Like, kind of keeps me motivated and keeps me excited about making that game, even though it's daunting. So while I was doing that, I had these concepts for these characters, but I was kind of like, I don't really want them in like the style I typically do. I kind of want them more like cartoony, maybe like kind of like a Hearthstone-y kind of look. Everything's kind of like not chunky, but like everything is like the colors are vibrant, and it doesn't have that realism to it that I usually apply. But I'm so out of practice with that style, so I ended up commissioning my brother to help me with the preliminary sketches of these characters. He crushed it. So I have them up. So I basically, for lack of a better word, I played art director. So I essentially was like, I gave like a blurb and like a description of these characters, and kind of let him interpret it how he wanted. And he crushed it. He did. So here's what he ended up doing. The rabbit we're working on today. So I'm painting them basically what I hope to make into minis. So I'm like painting them like on their vehicles and stuff, however they would ride. So he just did them standing up. And this is kind of good for me as a reference guide for when I draw it, and it helps me interpret the shapes and stuff like that. Because with cartoonish kind of animated art, I have a hard time with like interpreting those shapes initially. I feel like I'm getting better at it, but it's still not like of this level, right? So it really helped to kind of like have somebody help me lay out that foundation for these characters. So, sorry, I have like something like bothering my teeth. Anyway, sorry, that was so gross. And I love them. They're all almost exactly what I envisioned. So the one that we did change completely was the robot. He suggested, I believe he suggested, was it him? I think so. I believe he suggested doing a robot instead, because the symbol for his kind of like style of magic is like a gear. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, like a more machine kind of thing. Initially, this was like gonna be like a kid on a carpet, like a magic carpet kind of thing. But maybe that'll be like an extra character or something like that, like if we ever do more characters. So yeah, he helped me do this. The only one that changed was when I was drawing the rough box art, just kind of messing around. I kind of just like changed the genie to more like what I was thinking in my head, I guess. But I kind of still used some aspects of what he did. But yeah, I made her a little different. But no, I love how these came out. They're all amazing. And yeah, he crushed it. So yeah, I used that as my reference for making the art, and I was just kind of sketching around with this, and I was having so much fun just sketching this, and playing around with it. And so yeah, that's kind of like where we're at now. I've also been finalizing the design of the cards, and I'll show those in a bit. But I want to progress here. Once I get the silhouette here, we'll show the cards. I've done 6 cards so far in the final art style, and I would have done more, but I've been kind of only doing them in the background while I do commission. I have a lot of commissions I'm still wrapping up. I currently have like 3 commissions I'm wrapping up and some design work that I do on the side, some contract design work that I've been doing. So I've just been kind of noodling around with the cards like for like an hour or two, and then they happen quick. You know, I'm able to kind of hammer them out pretty quick. I'm pretty happy with them. They're fun. But yeah, every time I playtest that game, it seems to go really well and seems to be a lot of fun for people. And I feel like since it's hard because I have to do it virtually right now. Like the group I have is virtual, so you're kind of playing it on Tabletop Simulator, which is great, but it's not exactly right. So like there's a little bit of stuff that probably wouldn't happen in the real world instead of the virtual world. So yeah, my goal now is to kind of like, I feel pretty good. I got one edit to the rules I gotta make, and that's pretty much done. What's this for? Okay, I already did that. All right. Yeah, so there's one rule. Essentially all the it's just more about turn order and stuff. There's not really, there's a rule I want to try and a rule I gotta edit. The rule I want to try is that at the beginning of every round, you roll your movement die, and whoever gets the highest die moves first, or goes first. Because I kind of feel like, as initially right now, it's like you all roll at the beginning, see who goes first. But it's like, that kind of doesn't feel fair if you're racing. Because it's like they're gonna always have like they're gonna be always ahead in a way. So I kind of feel like if you're doing it every round, right, in re-rolling, gives somebody a chance to like gain a lead, lose a lead. Like it kind of adds a little more variety and randomness to things. Some people might not think it's fair sometimes because somebody will get, you know, the highest roll 3 times in a row or something, but like that's kind of what the spells are there for. They're kind of chaos. They're there to like hinder, because you could also cast, there's a spell that makes you go backwards instead of forwards. So if they roll highest and then you cast the spell, they'll just go backwards, that highest number, stuff like that. So there's ways around it. So I don't usually color this way. Actually, this is kind of like what I do, but like I don't usually do like a silhouette. And stuff like that. I usually just like loosely paint over it. But I kind of want it to be a little clean around the edges. So we're doing like a silhouette to kind of keep things in line here. I do a black background just so I can see everything a bit better. Yeah, because that's why. switch to a hard round. I like forced a habit. I was using the texture brush, but I really should have been using this brush. I already botched this version of the process. I don't usually do this, and I should have like selected outside the sketch and then filled it and then cleaned it up. Whatever. There's a lot of things that I know that I don't do. Yeah, I feel like I have to like do it all again. That sucks. Well, we're just having fun here. All right. I'm probably driving some people insane right now. He's doing it again. That's okay. And it's weird because like I usually don't I still don't think I use the silhouette thing the way a lot of people do. People use it just to kind of like keep it clean, but I kind of do it just to kind of have like a solid coat underneath. I know that's not really, I mean, I could there's been different ways that I've done it. I don't know. I don't really care that much. Just kind of messing around. Oh, hey, Dungeon Mom. Thanks for joining us. How are you on this fine day? If you're just joining us, we are painting a character for a tabletop game I'm making called Rune Rally, where you play as random wizards casting spells at each other and running races. And I'm having the weirdest time with this. Whoop. Moved everything around there for a sec. Dungeon Mom says she's tired and anxious about DMing for a very non-proactive group, and I'm doing pretty good. A little tired, so we're kind of all over the place, but we're doing good. And yeah, no, I feel that sometimes a group's just not feeling it, or they just don't get with it. I've had people in my group in the past that were kind of like that. It's a bit of a buzzkill. I'm happy with the group I have now. Seem to have a pretty good dynamic. But man, do I not want a GM for a while. I think I'm at my limit here. I don't think I need this open. All right. Yeah, I'm kind of at my. I think I'm ready for a GM break. But I want to finish the campaign, and I feel like there's a lot of campaign left, so I don't think that's happening anytime soon, unless we take a break and run like a shorter campaign. But I kind of already forget what we're doing. Half the time with the breaks that we already take sometimes. I don't think I want to take a break and forget more. But yeah, no, I want to be a player, I think, for a while. Wow, yeah, that's too much. I mean, I've been DMing since before my first kid was born, so like 2015. 2015. And it's been 2 of the people have been in the group since the beginning, but it's been kind of a rotating cast every couple years of the other 2 to 3 other players. And we're on our 4th campaign. And do you do a homebrew world, or do you do modules? And just so people know, if you say anything in the chat, I apologize for just reading it back. There are other I'm streaming on YouTube as well, so I usually just read it so they know. Dungeon Mom does homebrew mainly, trying modules for the non-proactive right now. Yeah, no, that makes sense. See, I always had an issue. I tried modules at the beginning. We did Lost Mines of Delver when we first played, but I actually felt like I ended up doing way too much prep with that. And I got really I felt like it kind of hindered my improv in a way, like thinking on my feet when stuff happens and stuff. I felt more comfortable in a homebrew setting as well. So we've been doing homebrew ever since. Yeah, I definitely don't like this method. This silhouette method. I don't even think I'm doing it right, but I also just hate it. Yeah, the current campaign we're doing is it's like they're like a group of monster hunters essentially, slash like detectives, and it's kind of like a monster of the week kind of thing. But then like there are some moments where like it becomes like a full, like a legit story. Like there's like story bits kind of thrown in for what's happening in the world at large. So that's been kind of fun, and I try to do it in a way where it's like characters can pop in and out, and it makes sense because all of our players have fluctuating schedules and stuff. And instead of just straight up canceling, which we still sometimes do, but like instead of just straight up canceling every time like one player can't play, we just work with who we have. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah. Yeah, we usually take a break just because we all have families and stuff. We usually take a break in December, and sometimes at like the beginning of summer too. But yeah, there have been times where we would take a break. There was one time we took a break. God, it was like 4 months. And I was like, we're just gonna start a new campaign. I was like, I'm not gonna remember any of this. So the last campaign we did, because this was the most infuriating one. Is like the last campaign we did. Two people were like, "Oh, we need to take the summer off because we work." They work a thing that's for the summer or whatever. I'm like, that's fine. And a couple other people said they wanted to take a break anyway. So we took a break, and then those two just like never came back. So like, and no matter how much we reached out, they never say anything. They just like ghosted us. Instead of saying, "Oh yeah, it's not working out. I'm not feeling it," which is totally fine. Like I think people need to say no more, and I think it's okay. Myself included. I need to work on that. But like, man, it's so frustrating when you plan a thing and then you leave it midway, especially when you think things are going well, and you leave it midway and you're just kind of like, okay, well, I guess that's it. That's the end of the story. So, because it was another thing, because it was like their stories were kind of interweaved with what was going on. So it was like, you can't just like, I don't know. So what I've been doing, my solution to that is, if they were in the middle, currently in their campaign, they were in the middle of something like a big thing that was happening in the world. So I rolled some dice, and I decided what happens that way. Because then whatever happens there impacts the world in the one they're currently in, because it's all one big world that's taking place. The continents are connected where they are now versus where they were. So that changes what happens in the new campaign they're in. So that's just how I handled it. I was like, you know what? I don't need to tell their personal stories anymore because they're not here, but I can tell the campaign story and have it impact what happens in the world. So I rolled some dice, and I decided if they succeeded or failed in what they were doing. That was it. I think I might do that from now on too with campaigns if it doesn't finish. Anyway, finally, that dumb silhouette portion of this is done. You know what? I'm going to change the lines to make it black. Line work's done. All right. So, let's do this. Do some base coating. Kind of want his hat to be like a navy color, but we'll start with a lighter blue. Shape dynamics. Well, hopefully you can kind of get this group a fire under them a little bit. Maybe they'll be more enthusiastic. Sorry that you have to deal with that though. That's a pain. That's a pain. Because now you're not just like running a game. You're like now kind of like in charge of like. You can't. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it's just not going to work out. I don't know, but I hope it does. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so they like to chat a bunch before the game starts and after, and it kind of like derails your motivation a bit. Dungeon Mom says they really like to play, but they really want to play, but they just want to sit there and chat. Shoot the shit, technically. Yeah, we have a lot of pre-game and post-game chat too. But I mean, part of it's on me. I chat a bunch. I'm not a good DM. No, I feel like I'm a pretty good DM, but I am very loose with the rules and very loose with. I care more about just telling a good story, so I always am like, if you're invested in the story, that's all I care about. But yeah, no, it could be a pain when you're trying to navigate something, and you're feeling like you're the only person doing it. That sucks. I'm sorry. So for anyone just joining us, we are painting a character for a tabletop game I'm making called Rune Rally, which is basically a game where you play as wizards and you race and cast spells at each other. The playtests have been going really well, and it's total chaos. It's a lot of fun. So the look for the rabbit I wanted to go for was like, obviously rabbit out of a hat, magic kind of thing. But I wanted him to be like the magician, so it's kind of like a combo. And then I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if the center of his bow tie is an eye, magic eye? I thought it'd be funny. Thought it'd be fun. No, we're not gonna do that. Sorry, just looking for something really quick. Come on, come on. Where are you? I can't find it. Okay. That's alright. Do it live. All right. I'm hoping I can get minis of these made. I'd be so excited to see that. Yeah. Dungeon Mom says, I've been looking to branch out from 5e, but it's hard because I had a phase where just like several good campaigns came apart because we were running them on poorly thought out systems. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think that's why I tend to follow telling the story over necessarily sticking to the system, because like I feel like 5e is just there for, in my opinion, it's just there for character generation, and like then it's like then there's like some in like combat essentially. But I feel like even in combat, I still, at least me personally, I still apply the rules fairly loosely in my style, at least, just because again I prioritize the story. So like if the story would benefit, like sometimes like the monster would magically have slightly less HP than their stat block because them being finished off in a certain story beat makes way more sense and is way cooler and way more exciting for the group than like, oh, they have 1 HP left, you know. It's so, I don't know. So yeah, I can see why using a system, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that adhering strictly to the system, I think even in D&D, it's gonna fall apart, because I think D&D also has tons of flaws, and I think that's okay. But yeah, there are tons of great systems out there, but yeah, I agree, like long term they probably don't work great, but I think as long as we set our expectations a little lower and like use that system as our base instead of our end all be all, I think you can run a pretty good campaign with almost any system, at least from my aspect. There are some systems that are straight up just broken. To To me, the mechanisms of the game inform the world and story. I think that's interesting. I think that's really interesting. So you don't make that system versus story debate. I think it's okay to have that debate. I mean, if you don't want to have that debate, obviously we don't have to. But what I'm saying is, I think that's really cool that you think that. Because I'm on the opposite end. I think they potentially can hinder a story. I think sometimes the mechanics dictate what happens in a thing, which helps the story. But I also think sometimes if you stick too much to the mechanics, it hinders the story. So that's interesting. I think it's cool that you think that. Like, it's cool to see somebody else have a different experience with that. Oh, did not want to do that. I don't want that color. Where'd my swatches go? Mechanics are the physics of the world. So you build your story about how that works, says Dungeon Mom. I always interpret mechanics as physics. I interpret mechanics as how you interpret what happens. They're not the physics of the world, in my opinion. They're more like how you can translate something that's in a fictional world into reality. What's cool about the mechanics is that they can be manipulated. So it's like, if somebody wants to do a thing where they have to jump up really high, but like if you say they're jumping, where they jump up really high and mechanics wise, they can't reach it. So then you encourage them to do something else. You're sticking to the rules, but then you're hindering yourself. If like the thing that they do to solve the problem takes too many actions, then all of a sudden they can't do it. It's kind of lame. Like it's like you just kind of like want to encourage the creativity. So I feel like at that point I would say the mechanics don't. Well, like all right. So say you're going the mechanics of 5e, right? Everything has to take place in 6 seconds. I think that is more loose, especially since the Dungeon Master's Guide says it is. But like, I think that is more of a loose guess. It's not like everything takes place in 6 seconds, so you can't do anything. It's just a way to keep the table moving and keep the things going. So like, they just put a number on it to kind of help you understand, okay, like it has to be relatively quick what you're doing. But I would argue that sometimes things that they say take 6 seconds take longer than 6 seconds. And sometimes things that take 6 seconds take way less than 6 seconds. Like the fact that a bonus action to drink water is a bonus action, but a healing potion is not. Like, I think that is a weird mechanic, and that doesn't make any sense. Opening a bottle for a water and opening a bottle for a potion takes the same amount of time. So in my game, bonus actions are for healing potions to yourself, and administering a healing potion to someone else is an action. So I changed it. But that's what's cool about the game. Like, they encourage you to do that, you know? Like the first page of the Dungeon Master's Guide is when in doubt, make it up. Not the first page, it's like, I don't know, page 2 or whatever, page 3. I love that. We're gonna give him a big red bow tie for sure. Yeah, that's interesting. Just for people watching on YouTube, Dungeon Mom says, yeah, establishing home rules at the start of a campaign is very convenient. I think also useful, for sure. But when the rules have no merit, you can end up with a group severely detached from the whole thing, because they lose touch with what agency they have in the story. What do the rules play in terms of agency in the story? Doesn't their character and their place in the world have to do with their agency more than the rules of the game? Agency is where they belong in a place. What does rules have to do with that? That's what I'm curious about. That's an interesting point you're making. It has more to do with the player and how they're interacting with the world. Well, I never said they can be overruled by DM's whims. What I'm saying is home rules that are agreed upon with the group. And I think it takes a DM to understand that you're not there to ruin the game. You're there to enhance the story. You're there to tell a story. That is your role as the DM. So you're a storyteller. So if the rules need to be bent sometimes to tell a better story for the group, I think that's okay. I think the rules are there to be a guideline. But if you stick too close to the rules, I think that can also ruin a story. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you just make up rules as you go along. I think you should try to follow the rules of the game. But I also think sometimes those rules can be broken. I think that's okay. And I think they should be agreed upon. And I think if there's an issue with the rules being broken and somebody catches it and says like, hey, that sucks, then that's when you talk with your group. And I think that open dialogue is important as well. But I think being too rigid with the rules like stifles a lot of creativity and makes things kind of boring sometimes. And I can see why that would be frustrating as a DM or as a player. But rules are certainly important, for sure. Like you need rules, and you need established rules, and you need to try to stick to those rules as best you can. But I think a lot of GMs need to remember that you're not there to win. You're there to tell a story. And you're there to kind of like help the players win or help them fail if that's what the story deems. Like, you're not necessarily just playing a game, you're telling a story. But it's like an interactive story, you know? If you're there to just play a game, play something else. Play something more fun. D&D ain't fun all the time. Sometimes it's boring as hell. Sometimes it's a fun a lot of the time, but like sometimes it gets so semantic-y and annoying. If I'm there to just play a game, there's so many other tabletop games I'd rather play. There's so many. Like a laundry list of tabletop games I'd rather play over D&D. But I'm telling a story in D&D with my group, and we're collaborating and having a lot of fun, and that's what makes the game special, in my opinion. I keep losing my damn swatches. You know what? I'm gonna bring them back down here. Swatches. I'm actually gonna start painting over the sketch. Well, good luck, Dungeon Mom. Thanks for stopping by and chatting with me about the game. It's really cool to get different perspective on it. And you're right, it is a very nuanced game with a lot of different takes on it, and that's wonderful. I like that. See you later. Thanks for coming by, and good luck. Alright, we're painting now. Let's hope we don't make this guy super creepy with our painting. And I don't like make him look super realistic. Or like weird like first draft Sonic movie look. I really don't want to end up with that. Layers keep getting in the way. All right. Oops. Thinking more of like a tealish color for the little band on the hat. Just because like that's the color of the rune as well. That is like more his style of magic. And like I feel like if I do too much red, it'll all be kind of samey. The hat and the suit are already roughly the same color. Oops. Whoa. I think so far it's looking pretty good. Actually gonna paint. Whoa. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to the stream. That didn't sound like I said a sentence. It was like, thanks everyone for coming out to the stream. It's been fun to kind of noodle around with this and talk about the game a bit and stuff. And also talk about D&D for a bit and the game and have a nice healthy debate about it and stuff. All right. So I definitely want to make the hat more black, and the suit I want to kind of keep closer to that blue. Just kind of doing a little bit of cleanup on the lines a little bit. All right. I was just about to wrap up anyway. I think we'll just stop there. We'll I don't know, I'll do like 2 more minutes. My kid came in and said hi. Why do I feel like he had red eyes? I don't have what I was working on pulled up here, so I don't have... mean, not that red, not demon red eyes, but like, I thought he had like, I'll have to go back and look. Yeah, no, that's looking terrifying. We'll go back to that. Kind of like the green, so maybe I'll just stick with that. You know, I'm going to work my way up to that. So we'll start with cool. It's gonna be here. I gotta adjust the eye. Yeah, that's better. I don't want to lose too much of the sketch because I'm really happy with the sketch. I think the sketch is like exactly the aesthetic that I want. So I don't want to lose that in the painting as much as I can. So we want to try to keep that. Right. Okay. Well, it's 10:30, so we gotta stop. But it's a good start. Not as far as I hoped, but a good start. Maybe I'll push it a little further off stream, but I got some work to do, so some more work to do. So that's where we stop for today. Thanks everyone for coming by the stream, talking about the game with me. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be playing a game or not, but we'll be doing something. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something. But yeah, thanks for coming by the stream, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.